did do a report on the funding. We recognize that the funding that you mentioned is a real problem. So what, if you were in charge, what would you do to rectify that?
Equal or equitable, just close the gap.
Yeah.
Close the gap and focus on post-secondary institutions like NORTEP. It was a great program. 95% of those graduates from NORTEP stayed, or 94, it was very high, stayed within northern Saskatchewan or went back to their communities. And those are good paying jobs, and that's what we need up there.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Senator McPhedran.
Thanks so much. What is your sense? You've just talked about a very successful program. A lot of the testimony that we receive here gives us very inspiring examples with excellent results, and then we find out that they've been shut down. What is your sense of why that happened with this very successful program?
Well, as you know, the province of Saskatchewan is going through some difficult times economically. We're not doing well at all. Part of the reason the reason given by our government, by the provincial government, was that they needed to cut administration costs. And this is something I was very actively, and I was a community organizer. I worked with the student council, I worked with teachers and advocating and fighting for NORTEP, participating in sit-ins, participating in protests. But that only saved $500,000. And the program is still alive. They opened up they made a calling, I guess. So all the other post-secondary institutions in the province were able to put a bid in or an application in to kind of amalgamate with this program. And the one that got it didn't even actually put an application in, but so that's, I don't know what happened there. But really just to cut administrative costs down, and that was about $500,000 in savings, kind of a drop in the bucket, if you ask me.
Sorry, I just need to be clear with the answer. So then are you saying that even though there's a vestige of this program continuing, the heart of the program that was producing the excellent results is gone?
Yes, the things that made NORTEP special no longer exist. The tuition was paid for with a new organization that has it now. That's not happening. The books were paid for. They're no longer paid for by this new organization. And NORTEP had excellent housing. If you had children and you lived in the far north, school is very difficult. It's very difficult to afford to move from, let's say, like Wollaston, for instance, all the way down to Saskatoon, support yourself, support your kids. NORTEP could almost guarantee you a spot. And also, I forgot to mention, they had bursaries too. I think it was $700 a month. And that really helped the students make it through those cold winters that we have.
Senator Patterson, you had a quick question.
Well, it's not an easy question, but I would like you to share a bit of your experience with working with the kids following the tragedies there. What drives such young kids to despair, and were you able to help? What do they need?
That's a great question. What drives them to despair? Nobody really knows. We have an idea, but could we actually ever put our finger right down on it and say this is the problem? It's a lot of things. It's poverty, it's addictions, it's sometimes it's even a social thing. Suicide pacts are common. They do happen. But working with those kids, never in my life have I met such amazing, resilient, smart, kind, courageous youth. They are amazing youth that I work with, and we didn't necessarily force the conversation of bullying or suicide, but we let them come to us, and we just try to bring positivity to the situation through hand games. It can be through a New Year's Eve dry dance. It can be through traditional teachings. That's essentially, yeah, what we do. In my experience as a youth worker.
Thank you. Senators, we will now suspend